And we also wanted to know what Jesus referred to himself as in his language. What was his name that he would call himself?
Han Meditations.
Hey guys, as you can see, I have all these journals. The link will be in the description. Hello guys, I am Han. This is Kelly. We are Han Meditations, and we're back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing the ancient words and the ancient language of Jesus and in his time, and what was the word that he actually used for God, because excuse me, I actually want to find out and know what word he used. So let's just go ahead and...
You know what else I would like to know is what he would use for his own name. So that's kind of debated too.
Okay, yeah, let's figure that out. I think we did a little bit of that, but we can we'll ask it again. Hello, ChatGPT. I have a question about religion. Now, I want to know what the word that Jesus himself would have used for the word God, given the language that he was speaking at the time. What word would that be?
Jesus most likely spoke Aramaic, and the word he would have used for God in his native tongue would be Eloha, or Allah, in the Galilean dialect of Aramaic. These words are equivalent to the Hebrew Elohim, which appears frequently in the Old Testament. In personal prayer, Jesus also referred to God as Abba, meaning Father or Dear Father. This term is used in the Gospels, notably in Mark 14:36 during Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane. Abba was a term of intimacy and closeness, reflecting a deep personal relationship with God. Thus, Jesus likely used Eloha for God in general and Abba in more personal or prayerful contexts.
So, explain the difference between Aramaic and Arabic language.
Aramaic and Arabic are both Semitic languages, meaning they come from the same language family, but they are distinct in many ways. Aramaic is an ancient language that was widely spoken in the Near East, particularly from around the 7th century BCE to the 7th century CE. It was the lingua franca of the Assyrian, Babylonian, and Persian empires, and was spoken by various Semitic peoples, including the Jews during the time of Jesus. Aramaic script influenced Hebrew and Arabic, and parts of the Bible, including sections of the Old Testament, were originally written in Aramaic. It's a more ancient language than Arabic and was gradually replaced by Arabic following the rise of Islam. Arabic, on the other hand, emerged in the Arabian Peninsula and is the language of the Quran, the holy book of Islam. It began gaining prominence in the 7th century CE, around the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Arabic is also a Semitic language, sharing many grammatical and vocabulary similarities with Aramaic, but it has evolved quite separately. Modern Arabic has many dialects spoken across the Arab world and is used in religious, literary, and formal contexts. Key differences: geographical and historical spread. Aramaic was historically spoken in the Near East and the Levant. Arabic spread widely, following the rise of Islam across North Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. Script: Aramaic has its own script, while Arabic script is more flowing and cursive. Modern usage. Aramaic is spoken by very small communities today, while Arabic remains a major world language spoken by hundreds of millions of people. They both belong to the Semitic language family, but represent different periods and regions of the ancient world.
So out of all the active languages that are being spoken today, what is the closest to Aramaic?
The language that is closest to Aramaic today is Syriac, a dialect of Middle Aramaic. Syriac is still spoken by small Christian communities in the Middle East, especially in parts of Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. While it has evolved over time, Syriac preserves much of the structure and vocabulary of classical Aramaic and is used in liturgical contexts by some Eastern Christian churches. Additionally, some modern dialects of Neo-Aramaic are still spoken in small communities, particularly by the Assyrian, Chaldean, and Syriac people. These modern Aramaic dialects can be found in parts of Iraq, Iran, Syria, and diaspora communities, but they have changed significantly from the Aramaic of Jesus' time. Though Aramaic itself is no longer widely spoken, these related dialects keep its legacy alive in various forms of liturgy and everyday speech.
And we also wanted to know what Jesus referred to himself as in his language. What was his name that he would call himself?
In the language Jesus most likely spoke, which was Aramaic, his name would have been Yeshua, Yeshua in Hebrew letters. Yeshua is a shortened form of Yehoshua, which means Yahweh is salvation. This name is closely related to the Hebrew name Joshua. In everyday conversation, Jesus would have referred to himself as Yeshua. When translated into Greek, the name became Isos, and later into Latin as Isus, which is where the English name Jesus comes from. So when Jesus spoke of himself, he likely used Yeshua, or the Aramaic equivalent of that name.
Wow, what an interesting video. I mean, we learned a lot of information right there. So Jesus actually spoke Aramaic, as we already knew, and I wonder if he spoke any other languages. Let me just let me just. So did Jesus speak any other languages other than Aramaic that we know of?
While Aramaic was likely Jesus' primary language, there is evidence that he may have been familiar with other languages as well, given the multilingual context of the region he lived in. 1. Hebrew. Jesus would have been familiar with Hebrew, as it was the language of Jewish scripture, religious texts, and worship. In the synagogues, Hebrew was used for reading and discussing the Torah, and Jesus likely knew and understood it. However, it was more of a liturgical language by his time and not commonly spoken in daily life. 2. Greek. Greek was widely spoken in the eastern part of the Roman Empire due to the influence of Hellenistic culture. It was the language of trade, commerce, and administration. Some scholars believe Jesus might have known enough Greek to converse, especially considering the presence of Greek speakers in Galilee and interactions with people from diverse backgrounds. 3. Latin. As Latin was the official language of the Roman Empire, it would have been spoken by Roman officials and soldiers. However, there's no strong evidence that Jesus spoke Latin, and it's more likely that he encountered it through Roman authorities rather than speaking it himself. So, while Aramaic was Jesus' primary language, it's possible that he had some knowledge of Hebrew and Greek, given the cultural and linguistic diversity of the region during his time.
Wow, that is really interesting, man. I mean, just thinking about how you go back in time and what the world was actually like during these times is just fascinating to just really think about it. And when we just dive into these stories and what Jesus's life was like and really learn about all these people, it's just such a fascinating thing because you can just talk and have a discussion with this AI.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting how it said that there is a close language close to Aramaic today that a very small people use in kind of that region, Turkey and around there. I had no idea about this language. I forget the exact term. It started with a T. Mm-hmm. But that was very, very interesting to me. Oh, yeah.
So, guys, that's an interesting video, man. Thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And thank you to everyone who donates. We truly appreciate it with an open and loving heart. We love you guys so much. And we'll see you in the next video.